Hi, everybody. So my name's Maddie, and I am a senior here at CMC. So far we've had some really great forum talks, but mine, fortunately or unfortunately, is a little bit more along a serious note. So just so you guys all know. Anyways, it was March 4th, 2011, 7 a.m. I woke up to this. It's probably the earliest I'd been awake on a Friday my entire freshman year. Most post-TNC Fridays are a little bit rougher than this. But I woke up and I was thinking to myself, and I was like, boy, I don't know what to do. I was just laying in bed. I was like, what's even open at this hour? And then it hit me. And I realized that today was a day that was going to be a really hard day for me. It was a day where I would have to face something that I'd been avoiding for a really long time. And so, being a CMCer, I didn't want to do it, and decided that I was going to go away. I thought, okay, well, I just need to get away from here. I need to leave. I need to walk away. But what I ended up doing instead is, it was 7 a.m., like I said. I grabbed my quilt. I grabbed a notebook. I did exactly what Professor Bilger just described. I went outside, and I sat down, and I started to write. And so about a half an hour passed, and all these emotions were coming out, things that I didn't even realize I had been bottling up inside for so long, just flew out of me. And then all of a sudden, it got too hard. It was too sad. It was too difficult. I was overwhelmed by all of these emotions. Because being alone while you're sad is incredibly difficult. It's really, really hard. But I wasn't comfortable telling anybody about my grief and what I was going through. I didn't want my new college friends to think I was weak or lame. CMC. I wanted to be cool. But deep down, there was a part of me that wanted someone to recognize and see past that hardened exterior, to see past the facade that I was putting on, and to see that I was hurting. But not today. That day, everybody was too busy. In the library, with friends, sleeping in, hungover, and also, I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't want to be an inconvenience. I didn't want to make anybody feel bad or be awkward. And I was worried people wouldn't understand. They wouldn't get it. They wouldn't realize what I was going through. They wouldn't know how to talk to me. And at that moment, I thought, everybody at CMC is so normal and so happy all the time. And I want to be normal too. So I pretended to act happy. So I remember sitting out on the bench, looked down at my phone, it was 9 a.m., and I was like, shoot, people are actually getting up now. So I walked back to my dorm, Wolford, and I decided to keep my sorrow a secret, which wasn't a very good idea. So later that day, I walked to the village, and I love the village. I love shopping. Shopping was something I always did with my mom. And today was her birthday. And so it seemed only fitting that to honor her, I would go shopping and do the same. So I went shopping, and I browsed a couple stores, and the same thing happened again. And I was overwhelmed with this sense of sadness. And everybody at home remembered today as March 4th. All my friends, all my family, everyone in my community knew it was my mom's birthday. But 4 years since her last birthday, no one remembered anymore. I barely even received a few texts from my friends back home. That's the funny thing about loss, is that it creeps up on you when you least expect it. You just don't know when it's going to hit you. As some people start to forget, all of a sudden, you'll remember. And then everything becomes real again. Now, a lot of times at CMC, it's easy to forget. I was in a new environment. I didn't have any memories of my mom. I could kind of just go through the motions day by day, not remembering her. But not today. Not on March 4th, my mom's birthday. And so I stood frozen that day, and CMC kept moving. Classes, work, school, the library, parties, drinking, internships, jobs, the list goes on and on. No one noticed. But that was because I stayed silent. But I stayed silent because I didn't want anyone to notice. I was scared of how people would react. When someone asks you, "How are you today?" it's way easier to say, "I'm fine, I'm good," or "I'm busy," as opposed to saying, "Well, actually, I'm really sad because it's my mom's birthday and I miss her a lot." That's not something you can easily say over curly fries at the hub, or at a professor's office hours, or even sometimes in a friend's room. So a lot of times CMCers will choose option number 1. They'll say, "I'm fine, I'm good, I'm busy." Sometimes they may even say great if they got an interview at one of the top firms. Now, I see a discrepancy here. There's so much more use of this fine, good, busy jargon, I'm going to call it FGB for sake of keeping it short, than there are when we're actually feeling fine, good, or busy. Right? So why is this? CMCers are really smart. There's not very much we're afraid of. We're kind of a ruthless bunch. So why is there this overuse? It doesn't make any sense to me. So based on my research, not really research, based on my observations per se, I came that there were 2 big factors that were influencing this use. The first was our environment, and the second was us. Now, this is a very high level 2 factors, right? Pretty much everything you can possibly think of. But in reality, it's much more complex than that. It's really actually quite multifaceted. Our environment, for example. Here at CMC, we go to an amazing college. Our culture here is rich in intellect and society and social lives. We pride ourselves in the fact that we can balance such a rigorous academic standards with having a social life and doing all these extracurriculars and being involved in jobs. That's what makes us so great, but it's also what makes us so busy. Busy to the point in which we can't take the time to properly deal with our emotional health. We push it to the wayside. We think, okay, we'll deal with it later. We'll just say we're fine, we're good, we're busy. And then we'll come back to it at a different time. And all these things are really just coping mechanisms that we use to distract ourselves from bigger things that are going on. Maybe our sense of insecurity, our deep-rooted fear of failure, loss, grief, anxiety. They're all things that everybody faces. So CMC is the 9th best liberal arts college in the nation. Everybody knows that. But in working so hard to educate our whole mind, have we somehow forgotten about the whole heart? Focusing on making students leaders and focusing on becoming a pre-professional sometimes clouds our ability to prioritize our decisions for today, for now, for this moment. Instead of pausing and sitting and relaxing and just being still for a moment. Sometimes CMCers are quick to bottle it up, push it aside, and just save it for later. We dwell too much on who we want to become as opposed to who we are in this very moment. Rarely will you see a student just being them and not worrying about anything. They're either going to be studying or going out or doing something in between. But there's something about being sad that you can't learn from a book. Rather, the pressure that we feel compels CMCers to just say, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm busy, and move forward. So that's the first one, our environment. So what about us? We have a lot of fun, as exemplified by that picture. But while our environment impacts us a lot, at the end of the day, we're the ones who control the extent of that impact, right? We're the ones who are saying, fine, good, busy. We're the ones who accept, I'm just really stressed out, as an excuse for people to engage in incredibly unhealthy behavior. Now, we fail to dig deeper sometimes, and we fail to respond with the truth as to how we're saying. Yet, admittedly, saying you're unhappy at the happiest college in the nation is kind of difficult. Now, I don't really think CMC is much happier than all the other campuses around the nation. Shh, don't tell anyone I said that. But I think we just think we are, which is good for us. But in reality, that number is based off of so many variables, one including the number of sunlight hours that are in fact sunny, which is why I think we win. But by spreading this mentality that everyone's always happy, we not only isolate the people who are sad, but we also make other people think that they have to be happy too. It's really kind of exponential. As we increase this perception that you have to be happy, in turn, people feel pressure to do that. And then sadness goes even deeper into our campus and is hidden by so many different things. When it's stigmatized, it becomes even more unhealthy and encourages unhealthy coping behaviors, and which leads to our campus to become pretty disingenuous. So what can be done? How can we create an environment and a culture at CMC that's more open to sadness? I think of Ali. When Ali would ask you, "How are you doing?" he really meant, "How are you really doing? What's going on in your day?" His sincerity allowed other people to feel comfortable telling each other what was actually going on. I think if we can all be a little bit more like Ali and show the same care that he showed for us to everyone else, then we will not only become the happiest college in the nation, but the most compassionate college in the nation. Now, we can also lead by example. We can share our stories and in turn create a safe and open space for others to do the same. Fast forward to March 4th, 2011. This was 2 years later. This year I decided to not run away from my sadness, to embrace it instead. This year I decided that I was going to be brave and do a hard thing. I was going to tell my roommate about what had happened. She knew my mother had passed away when I was younger, but no one knew that it was her birthday. But I was brave. I went up there and I said, "Look, this is going to be a hard day for me." I didn't know what to expect. But I came back from the library and I found a birthday cake. And on that cake was my mom's name. And her and a couple of my suite mates had all gathered around and they all decided that they were going to celebrate my mom's birthday with me. And so that day, we sat down, we lit those candles, and we sang happy birthday. And as I blew them out, I knew I didn't have to be scared of my sadness anymore because I wasn't alone. Thank you.